Well, good evening. Good evening. God bless you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is your host, Apostle Gretchen Dixon. I have a very special guest this evening, Sonjia. Sonjia Pelton, say hello to everyone. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How's everybody doing out there? Make sure y'all give us some comments in that chat. This is going to be a good one today, and thanks for the invite, Gretchen.
Yes, yes. I wanted to, before the month of October was over, I wanted to bring Sonia on because, man, she is so amazing to me. In honor of breast cancer survivors, I wanted to bring her on because she has a powerful testimony. Sonia, I know not that long ago, you were diagnosed with breast cancer. So, kind of tell us when it started, what were the signs, and things like that. Just jump right on in.
So, with me, I did feel a lump, and it was a pretty big lump, and it was a little painful. I just was waking up one morning, rolled over, and I was like, ah, and when I touched it, it was a lump. And so I was like, immediately, I need to go ahead and book and go to the doctor. So I did wait. I waited a while, but I did notice it was growing. So when I went to the doctor, they immediately said it was a oil gland or something like that. And I was like, I don't know. So I was like, yeah, let's go ahead and do a mammogram. So they did the mammogram and they said the same thing. They said, well, we think it's just the oil gland. And I'm like, thinking it's not good enough. And then they did a 3D sonogram, mammogram, like the 3D one. Once they did the 3D, they were like, we're not sure, but we think it's just, and everybody was thinking. And I'm like, thinking is not good enough. And so I was like, let's go ahead and do the biopsy. And so they let me know ahead of time, well, if it is, it's probably just HER2 negative or HER2 positive type of cancer. And we have new treatments, they're easier. And we're really thinking it's nothing, but if so, that's probably what it is. And so they called me in on a Friday evening. They were actually closing, and they said if I could make it in, they would wait on me. So I knew then immediately, oh, it's more than what they were telling me.
Mhm.
And they waited because they missed it. So they cried before I did because they were like, they were sorry. It was actually in a very aggressive cancer. It was a triple negative cancer that actually fell into the breast. So that's how it was, it got to become like breast cancer, but it could have fell anywhere in my body. So with that diagnosis, they like did and immediately get me in everywhere. So from Friday evening to that next week, once that next week hopped in, immediately people were calling me on the phone, sending me up, scheduling me, putting me in. By the end of the week, putting me in for doing me testing, all kind of things, and getting me put in to get port placement. And so I just had a really fast like of just getting the whole thing, the ball rolling. So
Wow. So, what was the reason that they kept telling you it was an oil gland? Was it because you were too young? What was the
know
reason?
that it probably was an oil gland. Well,
Mhm.
a lot of times, I guess they just, maybe they're like us, but they want to believe the best is possible, and maybe there's still a lot of people that come in with that same swelling, and they're like, it's probably just the oil gland. And I had a breast reduction before. Women, if you have larger breasts, you can have sensitivity in areas and stuff. So they just missed it. And so I'm hearing a lot of people with that same testimony that they just missed it, and just missing it is not good enough. Misdiagnosing things or misdiagnosing. My dad was misdiagnosed. He had a doctor that was telling him he was perfectly fine, going out from breast cancer, but this is for any cancer.
Mhm.
And so he went out over a year thinking he was fine, but he was tired. Like my dad is a go getter. He was tired. And I'm like, there's no way that you okay. Like it's something wrong. I don't know what's wrong. And so one day he couldn't get out the bed anymore. And so cancer had spread all over his body. And I'm like, that's how they can miss it. So it wasn't until he went to the hospital and they did extensive testing that they found the cancer and that it had spread and things like that. And so you cannot be afraid of getting a diagnosis and just accepting that, oh, this is the better case scenario if you know something is wrong with your body, because at the end of the day, it's your body, not theirs. So if they miss it, all they can do like is cry and say they missed it, right? But it's your body, so you have to be the advocate for yourself.
Right. And that's one of the things that we have to really be in tune to our body. And even though I'm not according to the scale of what I need to weigh, but I'm very in tune to my body. I can tell when it's off and something's not right. And my husband said I'm aggressive. I don't know if I am or not, but I know, like, for him, because my husband is one of those that, like you said, I don't know if it's men or just my husband, that, people will tell him something, he'll just say, okay, and go on. But no,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ask questions. I'm a Google. He always talking about me and Google. I'm a Google, ask questions. I'm like, no, something's not right. And because I'll fight for him, I'm going to fight. I'm not selling for that. What does that mean?
Right.
And so, those of you that are watching, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be, just because they have, the MD or whatever alphabet behind their name. They are human. They miss it, and
Mm-hmm.
doctors are basing diagnosis on what they've seen, what they've read, but you know your body. And so one of the best things you can do is advocate for yourself. Because recently I had some tests done and I was Googling, and I was, I'm one of those, I don't know. So I go word for word, like looking at what does each word mean in the diagnosis. And I do a lot of research myself. So I'm asking questions as well. Because I told my doctor recently with the test I got back, I said, well, that doesn't make sense. I said, it doesn't make sense. So it's okay. The doctor is not always right because no one's perfect. So you have to learn to identify and advocate for yourself. And I can only speak of some of the people I know and people of color, my nationality, is that I don't know why we don't like going to the doctor. Maybe back in the day we didn't have the money, or our parents didn't have the money to take you, so they come up with some home remedy, and so you delay going. Or there may be a natural fear, like going to like some people have of going to the dentist. But for me, I want to do all that I can possibly to make sure that I take care of the vessel, because we often talk about our body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, but how are we taking care of our body? Not just fueling it the right things with the word of God, but how are we fueling it with substance? How are we treating it? And sometimes too many medications. Because I remember one time my mother-in-law was sick, and they brought her to the hometown we were in, and took her to the doctor. Well, her doctor had given her too many pills, and some of the
Mm-hmm.
pills were interacting with each other, because they throw like half of those pills. And so you should be aware of what you're putting in your body. If you are not at the place that you're comfortable using a computer, ask a pharmacist or ask a family member that you know that may be able to understand better than you the consequences or the labels, or to get an understanding. Because even in the Word of God, it talks about, in all I get an understanding. And we perish for the lack of knowledge. We think that's about Bible stuff, but natural stuff too. I want to know what's the side effect, because you know, I have been taking this vitamin off and on for years that the doctor prescribed. Well, I always took it, in the morning. Here it is, many years later, that I restarted taking this vitamin. It said I'm supposed to take it at bedtime because I never read the directions. I never read the directions because they say, oh, it's a vitamin and you just take this vitamin. So what do? You take your vitamins in the morning because you're trying to get moving for the day.
Right.
So we have to be informed. So Sonia,
Yeah.
what about?
Well, I want to say this, Gretchen. Doctors are practicing medicine.
Mhm.
So they're practicing and they're learning. I don't care what you are doing. Everything is constantly growing. People are constantly learning, and they only can go to where they know. You get what I'm saying? And sometimes you have to go in and see an actual specialist, right?
Mhm.
So I've had some things happen in my life where I had to actually go see a specialist. And I think this is good, the conversation we having, because I think it goes past breast cancer. It goes past women. It goes all the way around. Uh, Even with an accident, they did an X-ray. Well, X-rays don't show a lot, but that
Right.
is the first step in some things, right? So you just think, oh, I'm okay. The MRIs or where you get your real results. And so I had been going through some stuff and like really going through some extensive treatments I shouldn't have been going through because they just did an X-ray. Once they start pulling extensive MRIs, it was like, oh my God. And they have the same, oh my God, but they missed it on you. And then sometime with the insurance company, they make you go through all these different steps before they can help you with the next step. So you have to be an advocate. You have to know when you still hurting. You have to know when you're feeling dizzy. You have to know when you're feeling blurry, when you're not feeling like yourself. Like you said, with medications, with the test they gave you, no, I need another test. And I've had doctors miss it a few times. So I'm an advocate for no. If you feel like it's something wrong, you need to switch and go somewhere else because it's a problem somewhere that needs to be fixed.
Yeah, yeah, and that's so key. Like you said, advocate for yourself, and I believe uh, heavily in specialists because I understand having a primary care doctor. They do to me the basics, but the
Mhm.
specialists, because one thing I've learned, the doctors have to go back and take kind of like we do in other fields, go back and see what's new out there. But I prefer specialists because they specialize in the area. That's
Yep.
just like you have a Bentley, but you're gonna take it to the Ford dealership to work on it. They don't know about the ins and outs of a Bentley
Right.
because they're a mechanic, or take it to the great mechanic down the street that work on everybody's cars, and he may hit and miss some things, but the maker of a thing knows how it works. Now going
Yes.
back to you, Sonia, you said so you just happened to notice the lump at one time. So you didn't notice it the day before or weeks before. It was just this particular time.
Just this particular time, and it was already big.
Wow. And you would think, just in my mind, you would think that you would notice it if you were showering, but you didn't.
But I didn't. And I met a lady who said she had breast cancer, was breast cancer free. And then she ended up, and I think she was like 3 or 4 months later, she had an aggressive cancer that just got big. She said it felt like overnight. So you thinking she had just got cancer free, which means you just getting scanned, then
Mhm.
you come back in your next scan say this. And so anytime you're feeling something, I don't care if you just got scanned, and that's what I learned from her. If you're feeling it then, you check it then because your body is your body. Things can grow aggressively, and so it's the things I think that they don't tell us or don't teach us. And who would even think that? Nobody would think that. And for her, she just noticed it and went back again. And it's just thank God that she did.
Wow, you've done some remarkable things even through this time that you were walking through your physical healing. When you first heard the C word, and
Mhm.
they started, like you said, doctors here and there. How did you process it, and how were you able to press through? Because for those of you that are watching, at one point, Sonia was still working from her bed. So share with us, did you ever get in that hole and have a pity party and then come out, or did you just always press through like in Sonia fashion?
I pressed through in Sonya fashion, but now let's talk about that day. So they called me. I had it all together. I mean, you know from a sound of a voice, they calling you in that time of the evening. You just know. And so, and because they were doing biopsies and things like that, my mom and dad had already just came down, like just in case, like they came down. And so my husband drove me because they had went on somewhere, and we wasn't expecting any results. You see what I'm saying? And it's the weekend. It's after out. It's getting ready to close. We're like, okay, they're not gonna tell us today. We won't get it now. And so, when they called, we went in, and of course, I had it all together. And so I'm waiting, and it probably was the initial reaction of them, and then it probably was that they hyped me up so much. And so you can't let anybody get you that hype because they had already told me how good, if it was, that it was going to be, then to tell me how really bad it was. So, I think that's what it was. So yeah, I broke down, like once they explained and they're using words like aggressive, we gotta act now. And then like next week you get, what I'm saying? So it was a lot to take in. So yeah, I had it together, then I just broke down. It was just a breakdown moment. I might have had a good 10, I don't know if it was that 10, 15 minutes. It might have been this moment of just really crying, and I had to shake it off. And I had to say, son, you get yourself together, shake it, shake it, shake it. Because, whatever is going to be like, you're going to have the treatment or you're not going to have the treatment. God going to work it out. Is it like however it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And so, yeah, me, I'm just like, well, we're going to have to do this thing, and so went on and started having the treatments. It got me, like I said, immediately in, and I was all right. Cause I talk about vision. I teach people like it's not about how you look and things like that. So before I was doing business coaching, I was doing life coaching. My whole thing was the glam coach, and it's not about how you look, and it's about this and about building yourself up and um, scriptures and positive affirmations and just really building yourself up. And so I say in Houston, we have to build ourselves up before the storm happens. So you
Mhm.
need insurance before the storm happens. The storm can't be in the Gulf and you want insurance. It's too
Yeah.
late. It's too late, like it's shut down. So you have to have that done. They tell you have a preparedness package ready. They tell you what all you need to have, if you need to leave, what you got to do, right? And so it's the same thing in life. And so when the storm happened, I was pretty well built up, before that. Now it was a process where I was like, oh my goodness. And I thought my hair was not gonna fall out. It was holding up pretty good, y'all. It was doing pretty good. And then all of a sudden I had braids in, my hair sewn in, and my mom went to take my braids out. And she was stopping. And so, I'm like, what is it? And I know my head was like really itching. It was like a real itchy, pulley feeling. And then she was start crying. And I realized, and it just was coming out. And so at that moment, I realized, okay, this is real. This is coming out in the patches, like the whole braid coming out. Like you can't even unravel it. You touch it, it's coming out. And so from there, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is really happening. I'm gonna be bald headed. What is this gonna be like? And so I went through the whole process, being bald. My nails turned black. My fingernails, my toenails, they turned black. My skin got a little darker. And so it was at that point people were asking, like, are you bald? Because I throw a wig on, bracket with some makeup, and people ask, are
Mhm.
you bald? Your hair falling out? Like, what's this? Are you sick? Whatever. And so it was that point I realized I'm just gonna have to take pictures and just show people, like, it's
Mhm.
okay. You know, that's what I told people. Like, you without all the stuff. You get what I'm saying? So your internal is going to matter more than your external at the end of the day. And so I had to just come out and show people that part of me. Like, yeah, I'm bald, the toenails black, that this is happening, yes. And so in life we have trials, but we can't always, and everybody have their way of processing things. Some people need those moments. Some people excel in those moments. Some people pull back and they need to like do a lot of self-reflection and things like that in those moments. And I think that's different for everybody. So I don't knock people who say, I'm shutting all this down. I can't talk about it. I just did Glam Her Magazine, October, breast cancer edition, pink out. And I had people who, had just confided in me. They just found out a few months ago, recently, that they had breast cancer. And I was like, let me celebrate you. Then I was like, I'm not ready to talk about this.
Mhm.
Like, I'm not even ready to go outside. Like, I'm not even ready to do this. And I had to realize, and that's okay. And some people might not really ever want to talk about their journey. They do it, throw a wig on, stay in the house, whatever they do. And when they come out, it's just that, and that's different for everybody. As for me, I feel like it was part of my journey and part of my testimony. And it was part of what I taught. Then it was time to show up for what I taught. Also, it was time for transition and change that never would have happened in my life if I hadn't had that moment. Um, I talked to Dr. Connie Stewart. And I was like, everybody want what I have. They want the workbooks, they want the journals, they want all of the things that I build for myself, for my business, for their business. And she said, well, if it's just big enough for you and yours, it's not big enough. So maybe you need to build it for them. And
Mhm.
so I'm like, and so from there I had like the vision coach certification package was built. And so people would get different products for their um business, and it would be already done. So it was done for you. all of the messaging was in it. So basically, PLR, they could use my messaging, but it was designed all around their packaging, and their logo and their thing. So they had their own thing to sell. And so from there, the business portion just blew up. And I could do that from the hospital bed. So when I was in the hospital bed or whether I was at home in the bed, I could have a quick consultation. I could build them what they needed and get it to them. And so that transition was really good. And it happened because of that moment in my life. And so, yeah, would I trade that moment? Would I want it? No. I don't know if I would trade it because I wouldn't be doing the things that I do now that I've helped so many people be able to have their own books and journals and planners and courses, landing pages, websites, all the different things that I help them do, brands. And so that was our birth out of going through that pain at that particular time. And then just to let people know, so many people said, you helped me get up. You helped me know that it's okay. You helped me know that I can be strong, that I can get up and show myself and I'm going to make it through the process. And so, they can call me and just say, hey, what's this like? What's that like? And I can let them know, yeah, those days I was sick. Yeah, it was days I crawled to the tub. Don't get it wrong. It was
Mhm.
days I was so sick I didn't know what to do. Like, and it's days you don't even know if the devil play with your mind if you're gonna make it. It's just tell the truth. You know what I'm saying? And so you have to just believe and keep the faith and just say, look, I'm here and I have purpose on my life. And
Mhm.
as long as I have purpose and I'm operating in my purpose and my God given talent, given what He called me to do at this time, then I'm here for this point in time for a reason. So whatever it is, devil, or whatever it is, sometimes God sends us to through tests, whatever it is, guess what? I'm here for this time at this moment. And if my time is up, it'll just be up. I just want to make sure that I'm making the most out of what I have. And Steve Jobs of Apple, before he died, he was profound in this way that he said, I don't know. It was like he didn't know if he was going to make it, but what he did know is he had poured out everything he could. It was
That's
nothing else he could give to the world. And if you in a place where I like it's nothing else I can feel like I could give. I did this, I did that, and when I think about it, I'm done. Like I'm done with what I had to do in earth. That's a wonderful thing.
wow, that's good because that's one of the things Dr. Miles Monroe was saying that, we often talk about there's so many things that are in the graveyard because people did not fulfill their destiny. And so when you pass on to heaven is to go there empty, that you have fulfilled your purpose and you have left a legacy here in the earth realm. Also, in what you were saying, I was hearing Romans 8:28, how all things work together for good. It may not be good for you, and that you would not have chosen that, but God knew that He would bring you through it. And like you said, the businesses that were birthed out there, now the magazine, and so many other things, and the people that you not only influenced in business, but in ministry and in encouragement. One last question for you. How did your faith bring you through? Were there times that you doubted God, or was it like Job, that said that he know that whether God did or not, he know that he could. So where were you in your faith walk with that?
Yeah, I think that I've never doubted God. Like I'm like, He gonna do it or He ain't gonna do it. And, I had a situation with an accident. That was not even last year. You been out. You on the. We were together doing the interview,
Mm-hmm.
and I went to get up and couldn't walk. You
Right.
remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And at that point in my life, I'm like, Lord, I went through cancer and it wasn't like this. Like, am I not gonna be able to walk? You get what I'm saying? Like, but I realized like whatever situation it is for a reason. Right? God is the supreme ruler. He knows exactly what he's doing, when he's doing, why he's doing it, why he's allowing it to happen to us. And like I told you, standing on the scripture, standing on the word of God, uh, really who you're listening to. Like
Mm-hmm.
I do have different people I'm listening to. Sometimes it's Sarah Jake, sometimes it's TD Jakes, sometimes it's Pastor. Ike, sometimes it's Stephen Furtick, sometimes I mean it's different people online. You know, I have Alexis Mash, and sometimes I'm listening to what's going on. Like it's different people that I'm listening to all of the time. Even if it's people in business, there are people that most of the time strong in faith, and they're gonna still give you a word of encouragement. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think that just really surrounded, and I had music, different music that I would listen to, or people would send me certain things, to let me know. And I would listen to God as a healer. He can do it, whatever He chooses to do, how He want to do it. God
Mm-hmm.
is sovereign at the end of the day. Um, and I think that we have to remember those things, like what we listening to, especially at those times, what we're hearing, who we're hearing. Uh, are they gonna keep us in the right state of mind? You see what I'm saying? And so even watching what's going on around you, they can impact you in certain ways, or your healing and process in certain ways. So yeah, I definitely, but yeah, I am a person that I really, really, really um try to just remember, even with that situation with my, like with my dad, because it was like, what? And so it had spread, and it was like everywhere, and we were like, huh? And that's been over a year and something. And he's up walking, but he couldn't get out the bed. And like people who know me, I'm a daddy's girl. So it's like, that's my daddy. You get what I'm saying? Like, look, God, that's my daddy. And so, and that's the person who told me when he was like, I can't afford to lose you. You're not gonna die on me. And he just pat me on his head. And so now I go pat him on his head. But
Yeah.
he'll moving around now. Look, he just trying to get to the next Walmart visit. That's his now. I
Yeah.
going to Walmart. He wasn't feeling good for a few weeks, and he's like, I can't get the Walmart. I'm gonna tell the doctor I'm depressed because I like going to Walmart. Like Walmart. So hey, everybody got their place they want to go.
Yep. Yeah. That's my
Uh,
husband. Walmart and Sam's. He loves those places, and so we don't do well together.
we have one other thing. We have one other thing. So me and my dad, my sister, we getting ready to come out with Hope and Heroes magazine. And what it is just feeling like people with any kind of cancer need to be celebrated. Pink eye is big, baby. That pink October is big. Everybody know when pink October come, we're gonna pink out. And the ladies gonna do their thing. And we're gonna talk about how to solve the issue and how to encourage each other. But what about people with prostate cancer? What about people with colon cancer? What about people with all those different kind of cancers that we really don't even talk about? Like I had a
Mhm.
cousin, and I forgot it's a really rare form of cancer that nobody would even talk about too, even though it really exists or what it is, or to celebrate her for the survival of it. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm like, those people are left out. And so this will be like any kind of cancer survivor, any ribbon color that you have on there. We're gonna celebrate it all, or we're gonna remember it all. And so I'm looking forward to it. He's looking forward to it. I'm gonna let him. It's really gonna be his thing. So it's gonna be shout out to Alfred Pelton. So it's gonna be Alfred Pelton's thing that he does. And so I'm just gonna assist him along with it. Me and my sister Iris, Pelton Hamlet. We're just gonna assist him along with it and just celebrate some people or remember some people who did great things. You great even if you just raised your children. If you
Right.
raised your children and you got your children through and they amazing people you did and you did what you're supposed to do in the earth and you got healed from some kind of cancer, hey, we're gonna celebrate those people too. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to that.
That's good. That's good. So just before we get out of here, um, just one word of encouragement that someone may be watching this. They may not be battling with breast cancer, but it could be something in their mind, in their spirits, or a family member. Any type of trauma or situation that they're dealing with. Um, Share a word of encouragement to them to help them to keep going, that they could make it. This is not the end.
I think remembering that God is sovereign. God is King of King and Lord of Lords. He never lost the case. So
Right.
whatever it is, we have to remember just call on the name of Jesus. I think sometimes we make it like, oh, they gotta be 10 hours locked in the closet. We gotta go on 100-day fast. And sometimes God is just wanting us. to just let him be daddy. Just let him love on us. Just talk to him. You know what I'm saying? It's about talking to God without ceasing. So are you gonna be at your job all the time in the closet? No. Sometimes you're gonna be driving down the street talking to God. You're gonna be in the middle of teaching and just remember, thank you, God. You're gonna be in the middle of this business meeting and your mind gonna go, Jesus, you awesome. Like sometimes it's just remembering that God is God. Remember keeping your scriptures that keep you encouraged. Like
Mhm.
what's that thing that you can stand on out of
That's it.
all things. So really keeping that thing right there by you. Like I have a wild, I don't even know if it's over here. Yep, over there. And so um yeah, just what are those things? Because we are gonna have issues. We're gonna have family issues, children issues, mindset issues, body issues, um, issues with people at work. Like you're gonna have an issue. Life throws issues. That's what it does, and it's supposed to because you pass different tests. Those tests get you from level to level. Losing one job shifts you to a whole nother job. I remember I had something one time. I was like, oh, and I would have kept it forever. You get what I'm saying? I would have just kept until it was just too much because it was time to shift. I never would have thought the shift would have happened how the shift happened to get something better. And if I hadn't have been transitioned out in the shift and stressed out through the shift, that wouldn't happen. So everything in life is like stepping stones. It's like a path. It's like God is laying a pathway down, and you have to follow the steps because a good man's steps are
All right.
ordered by the Lord. That means we having steps that we have to take. Did it say in those steps it was not going to be rocky? No. It was not going to get things to interfere through the way. No. It's that you have to keep stepping. You have to keep pressing on and moving forward to get to that destination. So if we're traveling, we have all kind of pit stops we got to make. We can run into traffic that stress us out. But the destination is still the same. That we have to get to where we're going for a specific purpose, whether that's enjoyment at the end, whether that's work at the end, whether that's ministry at the end. We have to get to that specific destination to do what we have to do. And so I think that's what we have to remember along the way.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing, Sonia. I really appreciate you. You doing remarkable things. So excited to always have you on, but definitely wanted to honor you this month. Thank all of you that tuned in tonight to watch Gretchen Dixon Let's Chat and get ready and see what's next for next week. You want to talk about that real quick?
Yes, y'all don't forget to get your freebie. Don't y'all forget to go to SonyaPeltonSam.com. Get your free things. I have a couple of things for you in the freebie vault, things for life and things for business. Y'all go over to SonyaPeltonSam.com or theglamcoach.com. Get your free things from me. I got a couple of things for you. Get a free 15-minute consultation. See how I can help you guys out, what I can help you do. Let's chat. I've chatted with Gretchen before, and this was birthed out. This screen over here where she looking good on the side. So
Mhm.
y'all, I want you to keep doing amazing, amazing things. Yeah, and let's see how I can help you out. Thanks for having me on, Gretchen.
All right. Thank you. You guys have a good night. See you next week.